doing a big voice, and it's funny. The countdown. We both know it's now recording. We have to pretend that nothing happened.
Oh, wow.
Well, that hurt my stomach. Jesus. Oh, we're good. Back to work.
Back to work. Oh my God, you can't say that. Welcome to How Do We Human. This is the podcast where we talk about all the weird and uncomfortable micro moments in life. I'm one of your hosts, Chris Binning.
I'm one of your hosts, Evan Collins. I'm fine.
Oh no, we hit record and did something crazy, and now we can't recover.
No.
And because it happened right before we started recording, you'll never know what it is.
You're never gonna know.
You'll just know that we are loopy immediately.
Immediate loop. Looper.
You know who was in that, of course. Our good friend Hit Record Joe. Anyway, we're talking about inappropriate conversations today.
Yes. Conversations that say fuck. Conversations
that's right.
that say fuck you. And poo poo.
That's right, Evan. But first, Evan, I've got to ask, how you doing?
I'm doing well. We're getting loopy. As you can tell by the tenor in my voice, I'm getting loopy.
Yeah, you're off the walls right now.
Speaking of inappropriate conversations, I'm doing very well. I want to talk about how much money I have. Which can be an inappropriate conversation. I told you that I had a good how you doing and then realized it was an inappropriate conversation. And then I thought of this one and I've just realized, like, hey, that's also a good example of inappropriate conversations. Sometimes bragging about your millions. But here I'm going to go.
And for the past nearly 200 episodes, to be clear, you've been not really bragging about your millions, but instead constantly mentioning that you're broke.
Yes, overly concerned.
Did you win
poverty.
the lottery?
Every year I participate alongside doing fantasy football, which I commission a league, and this year, middling performance. I think I ended up 7th out of 12. Not great, Captain.
Ooh, not great.
But I also participate in something called a pick'em league, which is you have to pick who you think will win each game throughout each week and lay down what they call confidence points next to it. Like we were just talking about before
you put
recording.
80% of them down?
Oh, 80% confidence every time on all of them. It's easy to win. No, it's actually really, really fucking hard because it's hard to predict who's going to win a football game anytime. You never fucking know. And yeah, if there's 16 games that week, you put 16 points on one of your guesses, 15 on one of your guesses, 14, et cetera, et cetera. The ones you're not confident in, you put a 1 or a 2. I've never won because you can win a week and then someone wins the whole thing. We've done this for I think 6-7 years. I've never won a single week, not once.
Okay.
This year, for whatever reason, I don't know how it happened. I was in first place from like week 2 or 3. And I never dropped from first place.
Wow.
And I won. And we had 38 people participating. It's the most we've ever had participating. And it's the most we ever paid for a buy-in. It was $50 a piece. I walked away with $1,250.
Woo!
After putting $50 in.
Can I have some?
You can't. You can't have any. Nah, you can. I'll send you $10.
Hey, all right.
Go see yourself a Star War. But people talk about having a shopping addiction. That's not what I would classify myself as. But hot damn, as soon as you end up with like $1,000 plus for free,
Yeah.
it's bad. I spent $600 in the past 3 days.
What'd you buy?
Bullshit. A bunch of bullshit. Mostly guitar related stuff, because that shit's just expensive and stuff I normally can't afford. So I was like, hey, but I want to keep some, as just like a buffer, so I'm not having to come on here and talk about how broke I am all the time. But like last night, before this morning, this is the prequel. Last night,
Evan's Money Origins.
Last night, Evan's Money Origins. Also, weirdly, also Wolverine's Origins.
They're one and the same.
One and the same. You'll see it in Deadpool 3.
Your money has adamantium claws.
Oh, yeah, I wish I'd stay away from it. I don't want to get poked. So last night, though, I was kind of realizing, like, outside of a few things, like, hey, I don't have a Nintendo Switch. I'd love to have one of those. Maybe I'll buy one. I've run out of things that I need / really want.
Okay.
And I spent literal hours last night brainstorming, being like, there's gotta be something else I've wanted that I can buy now. And I couldn't find anything. And I was realizing, like, money can't buy happiness. Not even that much money. And then this morning, I had a text from my bank, which I was like partly expecting, saying like, we think there's been fraud on your account. We're going to send you purchases one by one. I've had this happen before when you buy a airplane, whatever, you buy something big.
Yeah, of course.
And your bank's like, are you sure this is you? But it showed me something that was not me. And I had to say, no, it wasn't. And my card's been shut down. And now I'll have to wait for a replacement card to come in. So I'm cut off.
What did this person buy?
I'm guessing $80 worth of gas, which I would have assumed would have been me on the drive. But $80 is more than it would, like, filling Jocelyn's car was maxed out at like $60.
Yeah.
And I never went inside to pay for gas, so it's not like I bought $60 of gas and then bought a bunch of other shit.
And then $20 of snacks.
And also it was at a Kroger, which is a grocery store, I think, just like, I don't think there's one in California. I think it's a Washington thing, which also made me think maybe me.
Well, Kroger and Ralph's are... Is that
because Kroger used to be Top Foods, I think, in Washington, and now it's Kroger. Anyways, I don't know. I must have. It's happened. I've mentioned before. It happened to me in Seattle at a QFC, a different grocery store. Swiping
Kentucky
my
Fried
card.
Chicken,
Kentucky Fried Chicken, Quebec and Fried Chicken. Swiping my card, and they got my number that way. So I don't know. Maybe it was me, but it wasn't me. I haven't been to a Kroger in a long time. So, anyways, I'm cut off from my millions, and I'm recovering slowly.
A recovering shopaholic.
I am. That's the long and short of it, was me realizing, like, if I think we've said that before, if we had money, we would want the nicest things imaginable.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I've found myself in that boat. Like, I just had a little over $1,000 to fuck around with, and I'm like, I would have kept going forever.
Yeah.
Until it was all gone. But I spent half of it.
That's fair.
And maybe this will lead me towards, setting some of it aside, maybe putting some towards my debts, gambling debts.
Mm-hmm.
Chris.
Yeah.
How much money you got?
That's a great question.
I'm a new person now. I apologize. I can't help it.
Enough to survive, but not enough to be comfortable. Is the answer.
All right. Well, comfort aside, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. I was coming home from work the other day.
Oh, the
And
best.
we love to come home from work. Going to work, not as great.
Yeah,
Coming home from work, love it.
Bosses say, I
Um,
love to watch you leave.
that's right. I was so the way that our complex is set up is there's uh 5 units here, and there are 5 garages, and so I have to back my car through the driveway to get to our parking space, and our parking space is right by the dumpster, so I
Yeah.
have to back up towards the dumpster and then turn into my space
Turn
.com.
into
And
MySpace. Oh my God.
um as I was backing up towards the dumpster, this was at like 11 at night, there's something
Wow.
unusual there. And um I look in my rear view mirror and I see this big old chonk of a raccoon
Ooh.
on the dumpster, back legs on, the back part of it,
Trash
front leg like
bandit.
stretched all the way across the dumpster, and his front paws are on the front of the dumpster.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what it is, but I was so excited to see this raccoon. Just the joy of seeing quote unquote wildlife
Yeah.
out in these streets was very exciting to me.
I get that.
I went to take a picture, and then he scurried back behind the dumpster and just kind of poked his head up. So I have a blurry photo of that, but
Fuck yeah.
it was delightful to see that. I don't know if I've ever in my I guess 9 years of living in
Wow.
8.5 years of living in California, I think this is my first raccoon sighting.
Wow.
And I was very excited.
That is exciting. That's the weird thing about Los Angeles is there is wildlife here.
Yeah.
Like coyotes.
I've seen coyotes.
What?
There are coyotes that hang out in our work parking lot. So I've seen coyotes up close and personal, but never a raccoon.
Yeah, there's something fun about nature in a city. Raccoons can be fucking huge.
Yeah.
I don't think there's an animal that I'm equally as enamored by. I love me a raccoon, but they also kind of scare the shit out of me. They've got very sharp claws and rabies bites. And I don't want none of that, but fuck, they're cute.
I was cautious getting out of my car, but yeah, it was very exciting to see an absolute unit sprawl across that dumpster.
Oh, baby.
Speaking of discussing weight and body type, let's talk about inappropriate conversations.
Dumps like a truck.
Have you ever had an inappropriate conversation, Evan?
Yes. Now that you ask me the question, I wonder, I might be the one to facilitate them more often than not, which is a bad thing. Nothing too inappropriate. Nothing too inappropriate for Benoit Blanc. How's that?
That's not bad.
It can do. It'll do.
They did there's a Netflix YouTube video that's the cast of The Glass Onion does their best Benoit Blanc impression.
Okay.
And some of them are hey, that's pretty good, and others are are you trying? So I think that you were better than certain professional actors and actresses at this specific impression.
You hear that, Daniel Craig? I've bested you at your own game. He was in that video, I'm saying, and I did better than him.
Yeah, that's right. He was the one who was the worst at it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I think inappropriate conversation wise, it hey, you've been at a bar with me while I'm like not getting shit faced, but after I've had a couple of drinks. This has happened twice, I think. Twice we've been at a bar together where I'm drinking. You're not a drinker.
Right.
So you've gotten to sober watch me. I'm just gonna do this all this way. I keep slipping into it, and it's comfortable.
I'm trying to think of when these would have been, but continue.
Katie's birthday, and sometime after a show, we went to Public House.
Okay.
It was like you, me, Kaylee, Gabe, and maybe that was it.
Okay.
Anywho,
continue.
A good example of that, I think, was you. You did that. No, something I did to you. Where I start drinking, and then I can't just let that go, and I have to ask the shitty question that I have to assume everyone in your boat hates getting asked. So why is it you don't drink?
Sure, yeah.
Are you an ex-alcoholic?
Right.
You just don't like it. What's wrong with you?
Yes.
Like in sober conversation, like what a rude fucking thing to ask. But I had to know.
I guess I don't think of it as rude,
okay.
But it is a question that is annoying to get asked all the time because it's like I don't see what the big deal is.
Exactly.
But it does bother like literally everybody.
Yeah. No, I get. Yeah.
Except for my girlfriend's mom, who says it's very good for your health to not drink.
Well,
it's like, yay! You know your daughter drinks though, right?
She never stops. Well, my doctor says a glass of wine a day will keep the doctor away.
Yeah, because he doesn't want to go near you.
Get out of there. Okay, so you had pitched this topic forever ago.
Yes.
I think you
Do you remember what I specifically wanted to call this episode?
I don't know.
I wanted to call this, and this is going to give you a big clue as to what all of my stories are going to be about. I wanted to call it horniness in the workplace.
That's right.
Because I don't know what it is about me, but so many coworkers will give me their unfiltered horny thoughts about either other coworkers or customers in the vicinity.
Yeah.
And I want no part of it.
And you said that to me, and I remember thinking, like, I haven't had that issue, and thus broadening it a little to inappropriate conversation.
Yeah,
because I've definitely.
To be fair, you do work from home for the last 3 years or whatever. So
if my coworkers want to talk to me, there's a paper trail.
Yeah, there's no Slack channel for your company that's like. Horny on Maine. But,
well, I was about to segue into a story, but now that's too. That memory is like, no, yeah, we got to get to some of this horniness. Because I'm like, and I don't know if this will spring anything for me because I know I've been in those situations, but I couldn't think of any stories where it's like, we should not be talking about your anal bleaching right now.
Yeah, I've never been in a situation like that specifically. It's always dudes.
Oh yeah.
Trying to, this goes back to our like masculinity episode from forever ago, but this comes back to dudes trying to bro down, I think. And be like, down. We can all agree that this is a sexy lady.
They sound so polite.
Yeah. And I'm like, I want no part of this.
I think we can all agree here. Yeah. This is one sexy lady.
Perplexes me so. But there was one guy who worked with me at IKEA. And this was perhaps my earliest memory of horniness in the workplace. But he would always comment on to me, not to the to the women, but he was always comment to me about women he found attractive in IKEA. And I specifically, hey, I've been a horny little demon myself.
Captain.
So I can relate to the general thought but it's when it starts to go further that I want no part of it. I remember he specifically, this phrase sticks out in my mind because there was a woman, probably in yoga pants, and he told me he wanted to eat pancakes off her butt.
Wow. What a
thought. What a thought.
Why
do you have that in your brain?
But now I have it in my brain. I'm like, it's a nice combination.
Look, it's one of those things where it's like, these are two things I like. I don't know if I want them together. But it just, I don't know how to respond to that when someone is like, oh man, I just want to get some pancakes. I'm like, hey, do I need to be here for this? And do we need to be doing this out on the sales floor?
No,
moments like that are like, I don't know how to react to this.
Well, I think because I was right immediately as soon as you started telling that story. That reminded me of a specific person who used to do shit like that all the time. And I realized, like, I mean, I think we both just know we're not that person. We can be X, Y, or Z, but I wouldn't classify either of us as a toxic bro type.
No.
I don't think anyone's leaping to that conclusion. So my instinct I've got bad instincts. I should start off by saying, but my instinct has always been to try to like make a joke out of it and just be like, essentially,
that sounds messy.
That's a perfect example. And it's never anything funny, but it's a way to shut down the conversation.
Yeah,
because there's nothing I can say to that's like that they're gonna be happy with,
Yeah,
it's funnier to yes and it than to completely shut it down. So that's always going to be my instinct of like, oh yeah, some butter, blueberries. Just start talking about pancakes.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's uncomfortable, to say the least.
Yeah. That guy was at least like my same age.
Oh no.
Because where it really seems to get out of hand is people that are like twice my age that want to be like, hey, we're bros. We both think that 25-year-old woman is fucking hot. It's like, hey, you're 48.
Yeah.
There was another guy who worked at IKEA, and there was for some reason a bunch of us were in the same area. I don't know, like probably sorting merchandise to go back to the shelves.
Yeah.
And this girl was over there, and then she went back to her department, and it left me and this other guy who was probably twice my age, who just like had a general like douchey kind of vibe.
Sure.
When I first shaved my head to see if my follicle challenges could be covered, I guess, or like if I would look weird bald.
Yeah.
He asked if or I don't know if he asked. It may have been a comment of like, oh, you look like one of those Nazi white supremacists. And I was like, thanks, Shane. I appreciate that. But he was like, the girl walked away, and he was like, man, some girls just look so good in the uniform. I was like, gross.
That specific, because that's there's plenty of that at I guess not to put it on Walgreens, but there was that's probably where a lot of the people that would act like that I've met. And it's like, I don't know. I think on their end, the thought is, I'm having this thought. I gotta get it out. And you're a bro too. So it's just going to kind of
Right.
pass between us and we'll agree.
Yeah.
And then it's gone. And okay, that energy's out into the world. I'm going at a real karmic level.
Yeah.
That
okay.
energy's out and done. But it's just like with me, and I would assume you, it's like, don't you realize that you saying that is like, now that's all I'm ever going to think about when I think about you is weird sexual shit you said to me.
Yes.
I don't know. There's a level of like, hey, okay, I like to look at things from both angles. All right, let's try to be fair.
Okay.
We'll say from the get-go, I think it's easy to say that this is not a good thing. This is not a good way to talk about human beings to people, especially in the workplace. Hence the inappropriate conversations, aka workplace horniness. But there's also a level of me that thinks, is it, if I were them looking at me, is there a level of me, and I'm not going to call myself a prude by any stretch of the imagination, but is there like a level of like, I am uncomfortable talking about sex, which I am. You know, not with my girlfriend or whatever, but just like, I don't like it. I don't like talking about sex with people.
Yeah,
I
think the best way to summarize it is, I don't like talking about sex with anyone I'm not having it with.
Perfect. Yes, that's how I am too. And is there a level of like,
that's why we've gone 200 episodes or whatever without a sex episode.
Sex.
Because neither of us want to do it.
We don't want to have to compare with Stiff Socks.
Oh, yeah.
Our favorite podcast.
Our favorite podcast.
People don't know what we're talking
so
about.
good.
Oh, it's so good, bro.
This is where all that fucking energy that got put out into the universe manifested into this
giant black hole.
This awful podcast.
But like, is there a level where you could argue? Obviously, the shit these people will say is like, that's not cool. But like, that they're healthier to feel totally comfortable, just like talking, I guess, less like talking about a woman's body and oh, you're not hot, but like that a person would be more comfortable like communicating to a friend about sex.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a happy medium between where we are and where they are.
Yeah.
We are not comfortable enough and they are too comfortable.
Yeah.
So we gotta find like that. I for the second example of the guy that was like, oh, that she looks so good in the uniform.
Yeah.
I would feel like that can't be the topic you choose to bond with me over.
Yeah.
Like, we need to find
that's
something else that we can like talk about and then become like better friends before you start telling me this shit.
That also, like, beyond because at least a coworker is a person you know. This is a good starting place. It's still a shitty thing to do. But I remember this being a semi-common thing at Walgreens with customers. Like, I would have male customers come if I would be because for some reason they look at the cashier as like, hey, I've walked around the store. I saw the sexy ladies, and now here's the man.
Here's the rundown.
Here's the rundown with The Rock.
Yeah.
And you're the person that has to listen to the rundown of which of your coworkers I think are attractive. And I know you work with them every day, so I'm expecting you to have some thoughts. Go for it.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
All right, you've put me in a very uncomfortable position.
Yeah.
To just fake laugh and shut it down.
Yeah. 100%. I've had customers come up to me and be like, you know, hey, is that is your coworker single? Like, or like, can you call your coworker over here? Or what's your coworker's name? Or like
Ooh,
any of
that
that
I'm
stuff.
so uncomfortable with that. Like
Yeah.
asking for details about them.
Yeah.
Like, no,
Yeah.
good lord,
No.
ask them.
Yeah, exactly.
Or better, don't.
Don't. Yeah, there were definitely um like customers that would specifically pull certain women aside to assist them with their product finding needs.
Uh,
And then, since we've gotten to know each other so well, how about I get your number too? And it's like, ugh.
yeah. There was the same guy. This is a callback. A customer who forced me to borrow his DVD of the greatest horse accidents.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
So this guy's a real gem.
Yeah.
Gotta love the man. The guy's not my favorite person, but there was a coworker I had, and I remember him being like kind of creepy towards her in general. But there being a point where he put his hand on her shoulder, and she very promptly just told him like, don't touch me, not okay,
Yeah.
don't touch me, I'm working, you don't have permission to just touch my body. And he's like, oh, okay, blah blah blah. And then later, like a few days later, he came up to me again to like, ooh, here's a new word, to bro inside. Like,
Okay,
does that make,
sure.
what's coincide mean?
I don't know that it
I don't think it
grammatically
works.
makes sense, but
What is-
the portmanteau is
It's strong.
it
We
works.
just have
Yeah,
to
strong portmanteau, weak usage.
No, yeah, coincide just means to occur at or during the same time. So it doesn't make sense, but hey, bros at the same time. First off, before hoes at the same time. Anyways, this guy would come up to me and be like, "So how about that? That coworker? Why she's so mean? Like, what did I do?" And I'm like, "Not your therapist, bro.
You crossed her boundaries.
You crossed her boundaries. You made her uncomfortable. What do you want?" But it's like even that. Like, I don't want to say that. I don't want to say shit. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want any part of this. You tried a thing, you got shut down. That's the end of your little story.
Yeah, the end.
The end. Goodbye.
Close the book.
You are the weakest link. Yeah, people are creeps.
Yeah.
And I'm just there is a it's hard to be a man in today's society. No, like, there is a level of us kind of coming of age at a certain point where these conversations are happening more. Where it's like I at that point even would have been probably 19 or so, which is fairly young, but old enough to get that and get my coworker not wanting to be touched, and that makes sense to me. And there's a level of like I've spent a lot of my life just actively trying not to be a creep, and
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing. But like,
Yeah.
what is wrong with people? Because it's not me. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I was a creep once or twice in my life. I don't remember. I don't remember the details. But like,
Yeah, don't check it.
Other people's creepiness has made me really focus on just not being a fucking creep.
Yeah, I think that that I'm mostly the same way. I think that it like growing up, I think that it was always very obvious that like oh, I want everybody to be comfortable. I don't want to make anyone uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And then I think at a certain point in the like late teenage years, I think that especially because it wasn't as talked about as often in the media about how things that used to not be seen as creepy to the
Mhm.
wide public have actually been creepy the
Mhm.
whole fucking time. um
Exactly. Yeah.
so I think that there was, even though we weren't trying to be or that we were focusing on not being creeps, I think there was still, even for us, an extra, or still a like learning
Absolutely.
adjustment.
Yeah.
A friggin' vibe shift, as the kids say. In which we, to be fair, have always understood the assignment. Remember
Yes.
that reference
Of
from like 3 fucking years ago?
course.
And also even before that.
Yes. Said nobody
But
ever.
yeah.
I don't know.
Um,
Old Twitter.
Old Twitter.
Ah.
We'll talk about Twitter in a second.
Oh
But
boy.
I think that there was still we still had to adjust even further. And there are a lot of people who have chosen not to adjust,
Yes.
or adjust even harder in the wrong direction.
Point of pride and identity.
Yeah.
I matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've had this as much with customers or past coworkers, but there's still a level in the workplace where I work now, which is like, hey, we take that sexual harassment and employee to employee interaction
Yeah.
training every year. But if you're over a certain age, you're still allowed to be a little bit bad because the times were different. It's like, no, they're not.
Oh.
I can't keep having these 60-year-old men hit on these 21-year-old women and be like, it's fine, because I was allowed to do this when I first started working.
Yep. And I'll
No.
never change.
Exactly.
This is what having a job is.
Yeah. And when it's brought up to them that they are being inappropriate or causing a problem,
Yeah.
they don't hear that and go, "Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I will do better in the future."
No.
It's always like what you said with that customer. It's always like, "What did I do wrong?
Come on.
Come on, you're crazy. You kids today don't understand what it means when I say you wear the uniform well. You make the uniform look good. You don't understand what I mean by that.
You don't get it.
You don't understand what it means when I say, if I wasn't married, it'd be over. You don't know what I mean by that.
Oh, God.
It's a compliment, sweetheart.
Oh, no. The funny thing, I was gonna make a joke about like that being like taken out of context to the podcast, but then it just made me think of like none, because I work in podcasting. I'll make it clear. Fortunately, none of the podcasts I work for get this way, but like the amount of podcasts that just like 100% sound like that. It's just bros going, you don't understand, sweetheart. Like, what the fuck? Get over yourselves. And
and
whatever.
they always manage to find clips of things that when taken out of context or all played together in a montage make it seem like they're justified when they are not. I have 2 YouTube channels, one where I post stuff and one where I watch my own videos once and click the thumbs up to make sure that
damn, I have
we get
multiple channels. I've never done
good.
that. I gotta get
Oh,
on
you
that.
gotta do it.
Gotta do it. I'm missing out.
But on my personal one, that's the one that's connected to my phone. So when I'm just scrolling through YouTube, some of the things that come up are like they like take a Reddit question that's like,
Mm.
what's the most not safe for work thing you've ever seen at work? Or
Yeah.
like, nurses, what has happened when like a baby is born and it's obviously it doesn't belong to the father, or like things
Mhm.
like that. And then those answers are like displayed against some nauseating footage of someone like crashing a car in a video game. But sometimes I'm interested in those answers to those questions.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what are things that people have seen? And I think it's because I've watched so many of those, and also the type of well, so I think it's because I've watched so many of those that then the algorithm has pushed like broy dudes and
Mhm.
their quote unquote sketch comedy where the joke is this woman that they've paid to be in the sketch wants to fuck them.
Yeah.
um
You said you were
and
going to share some
then
of these with me. I don't know.
oh, that's true, I got to send you a bunch of links. um Make sure I'm in incognito mode so I
Just
don't keep
one.
getting promoted these videos. But then I think because of that, on top of it, because then the broy sketches get promoted to me, um, and as a fan of comedy and as a fan of um seeing a pretty lady in a thumbnail, I'm like, well, I gotta see
Gotta see what's up.
if this is good. And then it's always bad,
Damn it.
but it doesn't matter. My phone knows that my eyeballs looked at it. And so now it's started promoting wonderful clips from the likes of Jordan Peterson, who
Ah.
now I have to keep going through and be like, don't recommend this channel to
Yeah.
me, not interested. And they just keep fucking coming up where it's like, the problem with women today. It's like,
Ah. Ah.
no, this is inappropriate to post on a fucking on the internet. Get this out of here.
Yeah. I can't. I can't do it. We did an episode on toxic masculinity, and I only remember that because of the very funny thumbnail I made.
That's a great thumbnail.
This is a couple of jacked bros playing in toxic waste.
Yeah, it's an incredible
That
thumbnail.
was one of my best. Speaking of which, I haven't made one for this week yet, or the last few clips. I was traveling. I'll get back on the Instagram game.
Would you like to talk about Twitter?
Oh my God! What about it? What's happening on Twitter?
I don't know because I've deactivated mine.
Fuck yeah!
I downloaded my archive like you
Same.
had suggested, and I was going back through a bunch of my old tweets, and I was like, I don't even like these. Why did I download this archive?
That's the most.
So many of my tweets are not as funny as I remember.
That's the fascinating thing about it is like, because we talked and joked about. We joked. We had a nice meal over thinking about all these old tweets.
Our talking and our joking, bro, inside.
There it is. We done it. Some of those sketches bro inside with Jordan Peterson's views. That's why they got
yep.
you got caught in the
sure do, Evan.
You got caught in that loop.
I did.
But
there's also this one that gets promoted to me, and it's like some woman who just stares at the camera while she plays a clip of like some woman treating her boyfriend poorly, to be like, bitches be crazy. Like, well, how do you have 1 million views on this? Oh, right, because of
the world.
The world. Yeah. Never mind.
I've got some IRL inappropriate conversations if we got time for them.
We got time.
I'm slowly veering away from the sexy time.
Okay. I'll bring us back there with the rest of my stories later.
Please. There's a bookstore in my hometown that didn't used to be there. And I popped into that bookstore just to see what's up, because I love me a bookstore. And it's arguably, outside of like Powell's, the big bookstore in Portland, the best bookstore I've ever seen. Like, It's incredible. And my hometown is a very small place.
Yeah.
This place rules. I love it. And my girlfriend and I went there when we made the trip there in August. And there was an older man who owned the place. And he was just a very friendly guy. And then we went back in December. And someone else was at the front. An older woman. Maybe the guy's wife. I don't know. As soon as we walked in, the person working there just immediately glommed onto Jocelyn, and I booked it because I could immediately tell like this conversation's gonna suck.
Yeah,
and that wasn't me being rude. That was her saying some weird shit. And so I was just like, I'm gonna walk away, just kind of slowly browse like a shitty boyfriend.
Right.
And so she was talking with this person for a while. Eventually, she escaped. I don't remember. It was just a very strange vibe. And she was like, oh, what are you looking for? And Jocelyn was like, just kind of browsing, seeing what you got. Are you looking for history or science or fiction? She was like, yeah, just kind of all of it. I'm just kind of looking around. And she's like, well, how about this? And led her to a book about like the history of woodworking. And Jocelyn had to flip through it and be like, cool, neat, okay. I'm going to keep looking around. So eventually she got away. She's looking around. It's like, all right. I'm looking around. We both found some stuff we wanted to buy. One of the things, an old book about Zen Buddhism. Because I'm interested in the shit. And as I bought it, she's like essentially just mocked me and was like, oh, Zen, just like I was like, sorry, I try not to make fun of other people's beliefs. I'm like, I'm just buying a book, ma'am. All right, so all this up,
like, you know what's really Zen? The history of woodworking.
That's what the initial conversation felt like.
Trying to move this book off the shelf.
Like she wrote it or something. I don't know. But so up to this point, this has just been like weird, but whatever. Yeah. Jocelyn goes up to buy her book. The book she's buying is a book about, it's a cookbook made by, are you familiar with Carnation Milk? It's like the
yes, I am.
Canned and or powdered milk. Yeah. And so it's a recipe book exclusively.
I use it when I make fudge.
I use it when I make pumpkin pie.
No double entendre intended.
So I guess just like older members of her family used to work at the Carnation factory, and so she's like, oh, this will be, and we were flipping through it. It's like these recipes are insane and disgusting looking, because it's not like you and I both mentioned desserts. This is like make dinner almost exclusively with Carnation milk. No. All gelatiny looking dinners. It's horrifying. So she's like, this is funny and family related. I got to buy this book. But after, seeing me, you got to assume like, well, she's not going to have anything nice to say about this. So,
yeah.
And again, as we said in the previous episode, my girlfriend's so good at talking to people.
Right.
So with that in mind, this is how that went. She gives the lady the book. The cashier looks at it and goes like, oh, what's this? Interesting. Oh. And my girlfriend's like, yeah, it's Carnation, trying to just keep it a conversation. Because my family used to work there. And we were like kind of laughing at some of the recipes. She's like, oh, like not even, she's like not even connecting conversation wise. She's just thinking of like, what's the thing I'm gonna say?
How do I segue to woodworking?
Oh, I wish that's where it was. I think everyone in that room, which was literally just the three of us, wish that's what happened. But no. Instead, she said, it's a shame you're not pregnant, because then you could
that was my second guess.
Then you could cook all of these recipes with your own breast milk. And it went silent. And she said, Sorry, I was just trying to be funny. And Jocelyn's like, no, yeah, this is funny.
Oh yeah, so funny.
we gotta go. Like the last thing you'd expect to hear when you're buying a book.
Yeah,
Collectively.
Yeah, that second half of that
Threw you
is
for a
not
loop.
where I thought it was. Yeah, I mean, I was gonna guess that, you know, if we're thinking of insane things that this woman could say, I thought it was gonna be, you know, like, oh, you know, I thought it was going to be, you know, when are you going to give her your milk? That's where I thought we were going. But
get
no,
your carnation factory off the ground.
Yeah. This is your boyfriend's carnation factory filling empty cans, if you know what
I mean. Yeah.
Not quite whole milk. Yeah, that's awful. But you know, for a script that I had written with my writing partner.
Yeah.
It was, you know, supposed to be a raunchy sex comedy.
Fuck yeah.
And I was like, where should we set it? And so I Googled, you know, what's the like horniest state? And there's an answer.
Great.
It was apparently Wyoming.
Fantastic. This makes sense.
But after you know, your family being like, when are you gonna get Jocelyn pregnant? And a stranger at a bookstore being like, when are you gonna get Jocelyn pregnant? It feels like it might be Washington as the horniest state.
Might be Elma, Washington. Yeah, that's. I was so happy that I wasn't the second person buying the books, because if that had happened first,
sure,
I might have just gone, you know what, I shouldn't buy these. I can't afford this right now. I haven't won the Pick'em League yet.
You know what's pretty zen is having a baby.
No, it's cooking with your breast milk.
Oh God,
wild. The other thing I was going to talk about is just yesterday, after putting it off for a couple of years because I suck at going there, I went to the dentist again.
Hey,
now I've been flossing. I bought an electric toothbrush. I've switched to an electric toothbrush.
Yes, welcome to the future.
This is unrelated to the inappropriate conversation, but I do want to say I've only been using the electric toothbrush for maybe a month now. This is the first time in my life the dentist asked me, have you been flossing regularly? And I said, yes. And she said, it shows.
Whoa.
Like, holy shit. I don't think dentists were allowed to say that.
Yeah.
That's against the law.
I thought that was against the law.
Unreal. Unfucking real. I was so proud of myself. And again, same dentist that told me I look like Kiefer Sutherland. So.
Oh, yeah. No wonder you keep going back every couple years.
I would never. And she has the same first name as my grandma. So that's nice. Anywho. It was just a cleanup, checkup situation. Man, I'm laying on my back with my mouth open, and she's digging around in my mouth and doing the whatever she starts with, you know, the scraping, the hyper uncomfortable scraping drill noises. Horrible.
Right.
Hate it. But after she stops that to grab her next little tool to do some picking, I had to wipe a tear out of my eye, which I didn't want her thinking like I'm in pain. Like,
sure.
I was like, I just let her know, like, excuse me, allergies really bad, because it was, you know, it's been raining lately and kicking up dust, and my allergies have been fucking awful. And she's like, oh. That goes into like, I mean, it's.
I thought you were crying because you were going to be a dad.
No, she was like, it's so hard these days now to tell the difference between allergies and COVID. I don't even know what's this, what's that. Ha ha ha. I was kind of thinking like, oh fuck. Are we about to go this way? Fortunately, it sounded like it was about to be like a real anti-vaxxer sort of thing while someone's in my mouth. But it was.
Oh, that's interesting.
It did.
I assumed it was going to be that she actively had COVID and was operating.
That is more the direction it went in.
Oh.
She did not. After like joking about it back, she's just like talking to the assistant again while my mouth is open, and this is a respiratory disease you get from other people's saliva or whatever. My mouth's open, their hands are in my mouth, and she is running down all of the people she knows that have COVID right fucking now. Did you know Lisa has COVID? Did you know Tina has COVID? Did you know Jerry has COVID? Just like listing everyone in her life has fucking COVID right now. And then looks, I've like got my eyes closed because I don't like, I'm already crying in the bright light. I hate that thing. So my eyes are closed. And she goes, "Did you ever get COVID?" And I wasn't sure she was talking to me. So, me? No, as far as I know, I never got it. And she's like, "Me either." I was like, "Great." And the dental assistant was like, "Not me." "Oh boy, I got it plenty." Can we wrap this up? Or change the subject? Like, I wouldn't have known to have been afraid of that conversation pre-COVID. Wouldn't have occurred to me that, like, just talking about a disease out there would be that uncomfortable. But Jesus fucking Christ, let's talk about anything else while I'm laying in the most COVID susceptible position I can imagine. Of course, they were both masked. Not fair. Anyways, I found that wildly inappropriate for a dentist to be talking about everyone that she knows having COVID.
That's true. I guess that's a good example of another version, I guess, of inappropriate conversation.
That's what I was.
Where like you're not a part of it, but it's happening around you. Or if your friends or whatever are having a conversation with you that like isn't necessarily inappropriate to have, but is inappropriate to have at the location you're at, or like
the time at
if there are children around, or like if you're at a church or whatever, and it's like people can hear us.
I have such I hate that. Like, and I don't know if my hearing is better than other people. I think my hearing's questionable, but I think it's better than some other people's. And
what?
What? It drives me crazy when I'm like, I guarantee everyone else here can hear you. Yes. You are saying things that are a secret.
Yes.
Bring the voice down a little bit. I can't handle that. Makes me so fucking anxious.
I'm trying to think of like an example where that's happened to me, and I know it's happened to me, but I can't think of an example. The closest thing that I can think of is I was in the Walmart checkout line like a couple of years ago, and these two bros I might have even said this on the podcast before, but there were these two bros behind me, and I'll censor their conversation because it makes me uncomfortable. But they were talking. One of them was talking to his friend about how like, it's so frustrating because he invited this girl over to Netflix and chill, but like she wasn't going for it,
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, we all know that this is that we're gonna have sex, but she's not like, jumping all over me or whatever. And his friends, to his friend's credit, his friends seemed uncomfortable with having that conversation there, because there was a lot of just like, yeah, and the other guy just had to get it out of his system, I guess. And I had to listen to it.
I don't think you told that specifically, but we've talked a decent amount about the being in a line at the grocery store when two coworkers, and we get it. We've been customer service not coworkers with each other, but we've worked in customer service, and it's like, hey, sometimes whatever you need to just like get through the day and have a friend, you're talking to someone, but like, it's just shut the fuck up. What are you doing? There's a difference between like we're hanging out in the stock room and fucking around, and like I'm working at the cash register helping a customer, and you're coming up to me saying something fucking horrible, or like super personal. Like, I don't like it. But yeah. Nope. Double yeah.
I mean, it's like when I don't know if I talked about this on the podcast or not, if maybe this was off mic, but whatever, I'll drop it here.
Drop it.
My last day at IKEA, we all, carried little walkie-talkies.
Yeah.
And on my last day, I just ripped a big loud fart into mine. But I was
classy.
I was like, I'm out of here. And I was in the back room with former guest Wes Selden and the guy that said he wanted to eat pancakes off of a woman's butt. And hey, the three of us thought it was the funniest thing that had ever happened in the history of the world. But I was in the back like room by the cardboard baler.
Mm-hmm.
But I would never do something like that out on the sales floor, which to me is the equivalent of like, this is maybe a funny conversation, but is very inappropriate to have in public. And it's the same. It's like, you got to know your location.
Yeah. That I don't know why. Maybe that's just the conversational version of a fart. But that reminded me of working at Walgreens, and like end of the day there's just like a couple of customers in the store, and one of my coworkers just like out of fucking nowhere starts going off about his 9/11 conspiracies.
Yeah, nice.
Like, I remember what it was, because I was working in the photo lab and people were printing off their wedding photos, and their wedding was on September 11th. And I was like, that's the date?
Never forget.
That's the date you picked?
Easy to remember.
To me, that was funny. Like, there's so many dates to pick. You don't pick September 11th. It doesn't matter what year it is. That's not a date to get married. And I shared that with my coworker, thinking like, wow, fucking crazy. And then like customers showed up, and he's like, yeah, especially since it didn't fucking happen. Or whatever.
Yeah. That just yesterday, we were talking about a coworker who got fired for poor job performance. And somebody launched into a little rant about Black Lives Matter versus All Lives Matter.
Fun.
And I'll tell you what, shut that conversation down real quick. Nobody else was ready to contribute to that one. It's just the thoughts people have.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, everybody's got
their inability to contain
like
them.
That's it. Yeah, it's like I think the most normal people in the world have thoughts that, like, if they said those thoughts, they'd be like, holy shit, I shouldn't have said that. Like,
yeah,
it happens. Thoughts pop into your head, good or bad or whatever. But there's something beyond, like, because, it could be like a kind of an Asperger's thing. Like, I don't realize this was
Tourette's
uncomfortable. Yeah. But then there's the people that is just like, no, this is, I want this. This is what I wanted.
I stand behind this 100%.
Yeah, I wanted this to happen. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. No, thanks. I know that we're starting to run long. I've got a couple more that I'll just kind of toss out here. We'll make them quick.
Let's do it.
There was one coworker who came over to me and played a song on his phone, some like, funky R&B type of music, and then and to be clear, this coworker is mid-60s.
Great.
He turned to me and he said, I've blown out so many backs to this song. Hey buddy, I don't need to know that.
Well, wait, so how did it started with him just coming up to you and playing this song?
Yeah, he came up to me and was like, listen to this song. And then we listened to it for a little bit. And then he said, I've blown out so many backs to this song.
That's a wild thing to say, but like there is that
He's a
element of
wild
like,
guy.
this is an older guy. He's whatever trying to like, hey, we're on the same page. You know,
Maybe
their era broing, but like, the wild difference between like this song comes on the store radio or you're playing that song and he says something inappropriate. Him starting like,
it.
Check out this song because I've got something to say about it. Is insane.
Yes, absolutely.
I love it. Humans, we're the worst.
There was another guy who would show girls a picture of himself in his 20s. And he was in his 60s as well at this point, I believe, but looked older due to excessive drinking in his life. But he would show pictures of himself in his 20s to all the women in their 20s who worked there, and would be like, would you date me?
Weird.
Is how I looked. Weird. There was I was with one of my supervisors for a moment, and he pointed to someone, a customer.
Always a good start.
Oh man, check out that MILF right there. And I was like, sir, you are my boss. Please don't include me in this.
Oh no.
And lastly, I mentioned that, we all take that training every year. And a couple weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago at this point, it was myself, one other guy who has a very similar sense of humor to us, and then the guy who I know I told the story about an IKEA coworker saying that somebody in the uniform looked good. This is essentially that same guy, but add like 15 years. He's the one who said that if I wasn't married, like, hey, it'd be over. Like, it'd be a done deal between us.
Same guy, different person.
Yeah. I know you're the same age as like my granddaughter, but it would be a done deal between us if I wasn't married.
Same age as my granddaughter, but I've always wanted to fuck my granddaughter.
But the three of us were in there taking the test, or like not the test, but the going through the slideshow of it, and he unprompted turned to the two of us and was like, "Hey, I know that like on paper it looks like I do these things." But you can't say that it's sexual harassment. And we were like, what are you talking about? Yes, it is. And he was like, no, because like, I don't want to fuck anybody here. It's like,
You shouldn't have to say that out loud, first off.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to say that. Second off, the things that you have said out loud seem to contradict what you've just said. But so that it all kind of comes together as some people will just always be inappropriate and toxic.
It's incredible.
We'll just have to deal with it.
Even I'm assuming it's a lie. I like the theory that it's fine to sexually harass people as long as you don't.
As long as it's meaningless to you.
If you don't want to fuck them, So we're good, right?
We're good, right?
Because I would never. Fucking lunatics.
Yeah.
Oh, love it, love it, love it.
What have we learned, Evan?
Have we learned?
I still feel ill-equipped to combat an inappropriate conversation the next time it arises.
Yeah, it's a tough thing. Tough. I don't know. I don't want to call it a tough spot to be in. It never feels good to be like, I consider myself in the moral right. Because it always feels like you're coming down on someone.
Yeah.
Even if you're 100% correct. And it's easier to do like we're doing right now on a podcast than to someone's face. Just tell them, like,
100%.
you're a fucking lunatic and you're wrong. But yeah, so I don't know. Maybe that's something to think about. Is like, yeah, what is that? What is
Confronting them head on.
what is?
Applied
'Cause
directly to the forehead.
I don't like head on. Oh
You remember
god.
that commercial?
Yes. Head on, apply directly to the forehead. Head on, apply directly to the forehead. If you don't know this commercial, you're missing out on torture?
Yeah. Something like that.
Anyways, I don't like being like a dick, even if I sound like it sometimes. I want to be nice to people. Is there a nice, friendly way to be like, you're being a fucking creep?
That's the thing, is like there were so many commercials in like 2016 or somewhere around there, where every brand was like, look, when you see bad behavior, just pull them aside and be like, hey, man to man, that's wrong. And
Yeah.
then they'll go, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Buy Gillette razors. And it's like, no, it's not how it's gonna go.
No, it's the same as growing. I don't know if you had the DARE program growing up. Dare
Yes.
to be against drugs. The same as the argument of like, if someone tries to sell you drugs, tell them no and tell them that they're ruining their lives. And they'll go, oh, you're right. I'm sorry. I'm going to throw all these drugs away and become a senator. It's like, this is not how that conversation's gonna go.
No.
I promise. So we learned nothing.
We learned nothing.
We learned nothing, but always, hey, we strive to be better. Which it's okay to come down on people and feel like you're in the moral right if we're also striving to be better. It's my Mr. Rogers takeaway.
Speaking of better, you better listen to more of this podcast.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can find it on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Pocket Cast, howdowehuman.com. New episodes every Monday.
And can I just say this podcast looks real good in a skirt?
It's a compliment, sweetheart. You can rate, review, give us 5 stars, give us compliments, sweethearts.
Please, sweethearts.
Please, sweethearts.
Please.
You can subscribe, follow, do all those things. You can also check us out on our social media. You can check us out on Instagram at howdowehuman.
We got that handle.
You can, I believe, still check out How Do We Human on Twitter, even if Evan and I have each deactivated our personal accounts.
We tweet those tweets.
Yeah, that's at How Do We Human Pod. You can check us out on Facebook at How Do We Human.
I don't think you're ready for that handle.
You can find us on YouTube, where we upload our new episodes in audio format as well. How Do We Human? Or is it How Do We Human Pod? I can't remember. I can never remember.
What was
the YouTube?
I'm multitasking. Oh yeah, the YouTube is at How Do We Human.
Okay. I was right the first time,
and I think it is active now. The handle that you just can't handle. It's at How Do We Human. Oof. We're workshopping.
Is that the goldfish slogan? Is that what you were going for?
Maybe. What was the goldfish slogan?
The snack that smiles back.
Oh, that's
the
terrifying.
handle that smiles back.
I don't want a snack that smiles back. I don't like that.
You can also send us an email.
Please.
To howdowehumanpod@gmail.com.
The best part of that handle is that it's an address.
Evan. Yeah, there's a hiccup there.
Wait. Before you get to this.
Oh my God.
I do want to mention we've got clarification. This was 2 weeks ago, which is how closely I've been fucking out of it since the holidays. I've been a mess. I'm back, babies. I'll do my best. But we got a comment on our buffets episode from our old buddy Umtarak.
Oh, is he clarifying his pronunciation?
She is clarifying.
Oh.
Aha! So the comment was, I don't know if it was because I had Bailey's in my coffee this morning. Hey, it's Christmas. But I listened to this as I walked to work and laughed out loud several times, which is better than the usual sense of dread going to work. Yes, you pronounced Umtarik correctly. It's an alias I picked up in Egypt, but my actual name is Sarah. Anyway, happy Christmas. Thank you for keeping me entertained.
An alias I picked up in Egypt is
Isn't
such
that-
a mysterious way to phrase it.
I love it. I love it. We need more mysterious listeners. If you've got a mystery,
we need
out
more
there,
mysterious listeners. Also, we need foreign aliases as well. So.
We also just need more listeners.
Yeah, that's true.
That's all. Thank you for that.
Thank you,
Sarah. I'll call you Sarah now because we know
I'll call
each
you
other.
Umtarik.
All right, you keep your distance.
Evan,
Yes.
do you have anything else you'd
Of
like
course.
to plug?
And I'm going to do it quickly because I have to edit this tomorrow.
Oh.
Been out there. We've talked about it before. Been out there watching season 3 of Love is Blind.
Oh yeah,
Madness.
we love harsh cuts to insanely loud pop songs I've never heard of in my life.
Gotta. The music.
Make sure there's
in
more
there.
than one in every scene.
Yes, and they're all. See, now I'm like, I want to talk about a different thing. I've got 2 things related to this, and I completely forgot that the other thing was also related to that. But first and foremost, Love is Blind. They fail on their concept so fucking hard, but the show is entertaining nonetheless. But like, the whole idea being like, can you fall in love with someone that you aren't seeing, that you aren't in the same room with? Ooh, intriguing. But I think they kind of fuck that up because I'm a judgmental jerk.
Who wants to be nice to everyone, right?
Yeah, really.
Okay.
I try my hardest. But I've got a new show I'm workshopping called Love is Deaf, where it's just 2 people sitting in a room and they can't talk to each other.
Waiting for death.
Waiting for death. The slow creep.
The slow creep. That was what they called me in high school. Baba Booey.
Baba Booey. Anyways, check out Love is Deaf on Bravo. Yes, we got on Bravo. Fuck Netflix. Make changes so I can't have other people on the same account. Fuck off.
Fuck off.
Fuck off. Chris.
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Look, you guys
Great.
know I am always looking for easy jobs that pay more than what I currently make.
Sound to me making it rain.
Making it rain, of course. And hey, this is no different. I would like to be a TV meteorologist because you get to be on TV, so you get that little fame boost in your local
Helps.
community.
Fuck yeah.
And being a meteorologist sure seems fucking easy. Because it seems like you can just say, yeah, it'll rain at some point, probably.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, you're like, oh, well, I guess it's going to be tomorrow. So I think that I can handle that responsibility of just saying, yeah, it'll probably be sunny, but it might rain.
Yeah. No, it's not entirely dissimilar from some of the work I've done in the past with like social media marketing, or it's just like, hey, at the end of the day, it's real fucking hard to predict.
I'm just going to Google what weatherchannel.com says, and then I'll say it on the air.
Yeah.
Easy.
It does make you wonder, like a meteorologist, like, I feel like maybe they used to, but at this point, does any meteorologist, and by meteorologist, I mean weather people, the weather peeps on
television
the news.
weather people.
Do they do their own research? Or is there just a
well,
website?
Yeah, they a lot of them got freaking red pilled, you know what I'm saying?
Do you do your own research? Even though the weather, that's just what science is telling you the weather's going to do. This
The
is good.
deep state is causing the thunderstorms.
This is a good place to end the episode.
Yep. It's horrifying that it's not that dissimilar to what certain representatives in Congress have said they believe.
Damn straight.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.